Today we're going to make a sweet sparkling spice cider.
That's what she said. Okay, so yeah, like we said, this is actually step one of a multi-step set of videos where we're going to try to keep it in small amounts so that you can get it all. But what we're going to end up with in the end is bottles of a spiced cider that has carbonation and still tastes sweet. It all starts very, very simple. To do this, you will need a 1 gallon fermenter with a small enough top so you can put a bung in there and an airlock. You will need you need 1 gallon of apple juice or apple cider if you're in the US. That's the cloudy stuff. If you're in Europe, you have no idea what I just said. You just need juice. A funnel. We're now using this stainless steel one that is food grade. Our old black one, if you ever saw it, has been removed from our stores and our links because we found out that it's not so food grade. So we decided to stop using it. You'll also not need, but good equipment to have: a turkey baster, a graduated cylinder, and a hydrometer, also known as a hydrometer, for measuring sugar levels. We're going to be using Safe Ale SO4 ale yeast for this. Why am I using an ale yeast? Well, for one, it's the last packet that I have of this particular yeast. I like this particular yeast and I don't want to go bad. I am going to use half this packet though because I do have a rule. Up to 3 gallons, you use half a packet. Over 3 gallons, you use the whole packet. At 3 gallons, whatever mood strikes you that particular day is what you should do. But
First, we're going to start with a little word about juice.
I was just going to get to that. Okay. This is from Aldi. This is probably the most basic juice you can get, and it's probably fairly easy to get, even during the COVID-19 lockdown. Hopefully people can still get it. Ingredients: apple juice from concentrate, water and apple juice concentrate. That in itself is not a bad thing, okay? I would prefer if it was not from concentrate first, but it is. It's just how it goes sometimes. Ascorbic acid, in parentheses, it says vitamin C. That's all it is. That's actually only there just to kind of keep the color going. It doesn't really do anything. There's probably not very much in it at all to harm anything. There is no sulfite. There is no sorbate in here. That's important. If you have those things in your juice, it may not ferment. We've had people that it did. In that case, what you want to do is whole packet for a gallon. Give it the best shot you can. Okay? Sometimes you can overpower it. Some people say heating it. I'm not convinced on those things, but sometimes there is naturally occurring sulfites in juices, and that's why they have to list it. It's not that they added anything, they're naturally occurring. Sometimes people have gotten past that and gotten it to ferment. Okay, that's the best I can say on that. I prefer stuff that doesn't have it. There's plenty on the market, so if you can get stuff that doesn't have it, go for it. How are we going to do this? Really, really simple. First, all of these things were sanitized in
The red bucket of sanitization!
And this, being that I just opened it, was actually sanitary inside. All I'm going to do is pour some in this jug. Not some. All of it. Do not worry about sloshing, splashing, and whatnot. You want to get some oxygen in this brew. Oxygen in the first stages of fermentation is what yeast need. Notice I said first stages of fermentation because the quantity that's in here is nothing. You want that to build a colony so that they can go to town, chowing down on all that apple juice. Now, second one, I probably won't use the whole thing. You want to leave a little bit of room in case it starts to bubble up so it doesn't bubble through the airlock and make a mess. Okay, that's the only real reason. In secondary, you don't want headspace, but that's another show. Okay, so I used all but, a couple ounces. But you know what I'm going to do with that?
And this leads us to a good thing to think about. If you like the flavor of the juice before you ferment it, more than likely you're going to like what you ferment.
This particular juice is a little bit on the tart side. You want to taste it? It's got a little bit of the tartness of apples. I taste a lot of sweet apples in this. Now, some people will say that using juice from the store is not the best way to make cider. They're not wrong. If you have access to apples that grow about that big in your backyard or from a friend, use those. It's a whole different animal to try to explain how to do that, but basically you juice them. put it in a jar, and you're at the same stage we are.
We live in Florida, thus we don't have access to homegrown apples because I believe apples are one of those fruits that require freezing to become good.
They don't like to really grow in Florida. So, what I have here is our filled fermenter.
You need a new funnel for that, yeah?
I don't need a funnel.
You don't need a funnel?
I don't need a funnel.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to cut this open. Before anybody asks, no, I did not sanitize my Swiss Army knife. You'd be amazed. People ask, did you sanitize your hat? Did you sanitize that cat? Yeah, I sanitized my cat. Seriously. All right. So, as I said, about half the packet. I'm going to eyeball it. There's really no reason to get too anal about this. Because right there is probably all the yeast I need. I could put a little bit more. A word about yeast hydration. We have learned that it is not actually necessary to hydrate it in a liquid. That makes this a whole lot simpler. Because here's the thing. It's going to hydrate in this liquid.
It's doing it right now.
I don't even need to mix it. It's just going to fall through and hydrate because it's in a liquid. But what I do want to do, and I actually meant to do it before I put the yeast in.
Yeah, let's take a reading.
I want to take a reading. So I'm just going to put my thumb saver stopper in this and give this a little bit of a shake. This aerates as well as gets the yeast out of the way so I can actually get a reading. There's no extra sugar or anything in this, you might have noticed. This is not going to be a high ABV thing. This is more like a beer, okay? It's going to be like 4 to 6%, somewhere in that range. We will find out in a moment. Well, not really, but we'll sort of find out where it's going to be.
Now, when you add your yeast directly to your brew, we really should have done the reading ahead of time.
Yeah, because I'm just sucking it up now. It doesn't matter, really, but it would have been neater.
Yeah.
When have I ever been known for being neat? Okay, most juices that you buy off the shelf run anywhere from 1050 to 1055. This particular one is 1.050, which means this could come out to somewhere in the 6 to 8% range. However, there's other things that we're going to do to this that may alter that. But that's another show. Just going to pour that right back in. Next step, aside from writing down that number that I just gave, is an airlock and stopper. All right, airlock and stopper. These are important. Some people believe in doing open fermentations, and there's nothing wrong with that. What that means is they put it in a bucket, and they put like cheesecloth over the top or something like that. That's all well and good.
More than likely, they don't live in a small house with 7 cats.
I wasn't really going to admit how many cats, but we have cats. They shed and leave hair everywhere. It gets in places where I didn't even know we had places, okay? And it accumulates. I don't really want to drink that because, nobody likes to or, hey, have some of this, friend, but watch out for the cat hair. Nobody really wants to do that. So that's why we like to use airlocks. Plus, it works nice, it keeps it tidy, and we don't really worry about it. What does the airlock actually do? Well, what it does is gases are going to be formed in here as the yeast ferments the sugars that are present in the juice. They're going to be forced up here and down this side where it pushes the water to the other side, and air bubbles will start to go through. That's why these are called bubblers, okay? What it also does, that's the one-way part. The other way is it keeps things from going through the water and back into your brew. Things like flies. Fruit flies love this stuff. Someone asked the other day, do you put the cap on your airlock? Yes, I do. They also asked, does that make it explode? And I said, there's holes in it. So, no, it doesn't make it explode.
Now, if for some reason your particular airlock doesn't have holes in
Poke some.
Yeah.
Make some holes in that.
They're little tiny holes.
It needs to be airflow. Yeah, they're just small holes to keep larger flies and bugs out. But that's the gist of what that's for. So, you're probably wondering, we said spiced cider. That's right, we did. You'll see that in another installment of this video. This was just to get the cider going, and I don't mind that Thor just jumped up now because his timing was much better than it would have been had we not had the airlock in yet. That is Thor, by the way, who is probably wondering what the heck is going on here.
What are you doing? doing?
He's freaking out. Anyway, what's going to happen next? This will go under my desk or somewhere in this house for fermentation, and it'll sit for probably at least 2 weeks, okay? We get this question a lot. How many days does it take to ferment? Well, there's no way to really know. We took a reading on this. I'm expecting this to go completely dry. Safe LSO4 is like 8 or 9% tolerance yeast. This should go completely dry. I want it to go completely dry. It's about control. This is a very simple brew, but it's all about control, and it's going to teach a lot of basics of how to do things in brewing. And from this series of videos, you can go in all different directions with things, and that's why we wanted to do this for you. So we're keeping this one simple for today. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.